Any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start today's session. First, I would like to recap yesterday's session. Yesterday, we started with the topic SLT. SLT stands for SAP Landscape Transformation. SLT is mainly used for real-time data transfer. So in SLT, basically you have two versions. One is 1.0 and 2.0. So based on the DMIS, what is the DMIS in the system? We can know the version of SLT. SLT can be installed on the source system. You can install SLT on the source system. Or you can maintain a separate host for SLT. So in our case, we install SLT on the source system. one computer has ECC software. Inside the ECC, we have SLT software. So instead of maintaining two hosts, we have a single host having both ECC and SLT. SLT is a separate host, or SLT is inside ECC. We need to have an RFC connection. RFC, remote function call, is the communication between SLT and ECC and SLT. So basically, to communicate with each other, to above applications layer, to communicate to each other, we use RFC. So in this case, SLT uses RFC to communicate, and SLT to HANA is a DB connection. ECC to SLT is RFC, and SLT to HANA, which is the target system, is DB connection. With a non-SAP system to SLT is a DB connection. SLT to HANA is again a DB connection. So in SLT, the first thing is we need to configure SLT system to both source and target. SLT is just a middleware system. So in order to configure, HANA administrator uses the T code LTRC. LTRC is the central transaction code where the admin can create the configuration to connect SLT with ECC and to HANA. To enter LTRC, there we have to create a connection or to create a configuration. To create a configuration, first we need to mention the name of the configuration. What is our source system? Whether we are connecting to an SAP system or a non-SAP system. We need to mention SAP. What is the communication method? RFC. We need to specify the RFC connection. What is our target system? HANA. We need to mention how many jobs are required to transfer data between source and target. The number of jobs is equal to the number of jobs are calculated based on tables replicated. Each job can replicate 4 tables. Each job consumes 0.5 CPU. Once the configuration is successful, automatically system is going to create a schema in HANA. A schema is created in HANA. So in this schema, all the SLT related tables will be stored. Once the configuration is successful, the configuration name and the schema name will be same. And tables like DD02L, DD02T, and DD08L, these tables are replicated to HANA, and these tables always have the status replicate in process. So until that part, admin has successfully created the configuration. Now next comes the application consultant, that is we. So we can provision SLT using LTRC or by using data provisioning. In the quick view, we have data provisioning. We can provision data from the HANA Studio. So we have 5 options. One is load. The second one is replicate. Third one, stop load / replicate. Fourth one, resume. Fourth one, suspend. And fifth one is resume. So start load, start replication, stop load / replication, suspend and resume. So these are the 5 options that are available in SLT. Yesterday we started with what is load. Load is one-time activity. Load is mainly used for non-frequently changing data scenarios, especially for master data. Whenever the data in the source table is not changing frequently on a daily basis, then we go for load. So whenever we load, for example, if a table consisting of 10 records, we load the table. The entire table will be loaded to HANA with 10 records. Now let's say a new record, 11th record is created. To get this 11th record again to HANA system, again we have to do load. So every time, whenever there is any change on the source system, we either need to load manually or we can trigger these jobs in the background. You can schedule these jobs using a scheduler. But the main purpose of load is for non-frequently changing data scenarios. So next we're going to start with replicate. So yesterday we've seen about load. Now I'm going to start with how the replication works. Let us see this. So I'm going to start today's session with the option replicate. So what does replicate do? So this is the source system. This is our source system. On the source system side, which is an ECC system. So in this case, our source system is the ECC system. So we have the application tables. We have application tables. On top of application tables, we have DB triggers. On top of DB triggers, we have logging tables. Then we have read modules. So from ECC to SLT, this is an RFC connection. Now this is the SLT system. So this is the SLT system. and this is source system. So inside SLT system we have structure mapping and transformation. And then below to the structure mapping and transformation, we have write modules. And from SLT to HANA, and this connection is a DB connection. And in HANA we have the schema. So this is the schema. So this is the SLT schema. Under the schema you have all the SLT related tables. Okay, so basically when we do replicate, for the first time, even replicate does load. For example, let's say in the application table, a table consisting of, let's say, 10 records. So we have a table with 10 records. So all these 10 records, this table is loaded to HANA system. So we have this table in HANA. So even replicate does load means first when this table is loaded to HANA. First the table is loaded to HANA. So when the table is loaded to HANA, still these things are not created, like DB triggers, logging tables, read modules. So these things on the source system are not created when it does load. So when you do replicate, when it loads data, still all these things are not created. Now once this load of the table is complete, once this table is loaded to HANA, once the load is complete, and then it starts creating DB triggers. What is a DB trigger? A DB trigger is a small piece of procedural code. DB trigger is a small piece of procedural code that monitors for any events on the database tables. So they monitor for any inserts, updates, deletes happening on the base table. So basically they are pieces of procedural code. They monitor for any events taking place on the database table. For example, if I insert one record, it is an event for a DB trigger. So due to these DB triggers, I am able to identify my changes. A newly created record or changes to an existing record. These changes are monitored by DB triggers. From DB triggers, the data next goes to the logging table. So here, for example, there is a new record created, 11th record. This 11th record is identified by DB trigger, and then this 11th record is moved to the logging tables. Logging tables are also known as queue tables. They're also known as queue tables. So what is the purpose of logging table here is, yesterday we discussed about an option called suspend. So suspend is temporary halt of data. Suspend is a temporary halt of data. Whenever we want to halt data temporarily, for example, the HANA system, we know basis administrators want to do schedule maintenance of the system. On every weekend, they would like to do a schedule maintenance. So this weekend, let's say they have a schedule maintenance, but still the jobs on the source systems are running. The schedule maintenance is there, but still you have the jobs on the source system running. So in order to stop those jobs, not stop, in order to halt those jobs temporarily, we use suspend. It means that whatever the inserts, updates or deletes I'm making on this table will just reside in this table. If I create a new record, 11th record, it is available in this table. If I update 8th record, it is available in this table. If I delete a second record, so whatever the changes I make to the source table, all these changes are residing in the logging table. So read module is the module that reads data from logging tables and then moves to the SLT server. So when we execute a suspend, read modules will not be allowed to read data from logging tables. So usually read modules read and send to the write modules, and write modules write data to HANA system. So when you execute a suspend, the data is temporarily halted in the logging tables. That's why logging table is known as a queue table. Just it queues data. It's a place where you can queue data. And once you resume, once the HANA system is restarted, we can resume. So once we resume, the data from logging table is again read by read modules and moved to HANA. So when it moves, it deletes these entries. Once the data is moved, the entries from the logging tables are deleted. So DB triggers are pieces of procedural code that monitors for any events on the table, whereas logging tables are the queue tables. Whenever a suspend is executed, data is temporarily halted. If you do not halt data, there are chances that the jobs are still running and HANA system is not in a position to receive data. When it is not in a position to receive data, the data is lost. When the data is lost, there are reconciliation issues. So users raise concern in mismatch of data. If there is a mismatch of data, we have to again load or replicate data in order to match. So in order to avoid this, whenever we have a schedule maintenance, we suspend. Suspend is a temporary halt where data is halted in logging tables. Again, once you resume, the read module will be allowed to read data from logging table and pass on to write module, and write module will write to HANA system. Now here we have structure mapping and transformation. So using structure mapping and transformation, we can do data conversions. Like how we have transformations in BODS. So we can transform data in BODS. So BODS is a tool where we can transform. But SLT is primarily not optimized for transformation of data. It's primarily not optimized to transform data, but still we can transform by using ABAP programs. So we can, not we, so there is a separate team called ABAPers. So these ABAP team, they're expert in writing programs. They can write complex programs that can be used to transform data. These are all the ABAP programs that they write. And this code that they write over here should be very much performance optimized. The reason is because data is moved in real time. Unless and until we write a performance optimized code, there is a latency between source and target. If the latency increases, there is a delay to update data in target, and hence there is a delay to update to the business users. So we lose the concept of real time. If the data latency increases, real time data is not available to business users. That's why it is very important to write very performance optimized code with a very good ABAPers, so that we keep the latency to minimum and to update data in real time. So structure mapping and transformation is an area where we can transform data. And finally, write module will write data to HANA system. So whenever we do replicate, for the first time system does load. Once the loading is complete, system will have the status load executed. From load executed, it automatically change to replicate in process. When the options change from load executed to replicate in process, it creates two additional objects on the source system. From load, when it changes from load to replicate, there are two additional objects that are created on the source system. One is the DB trigger, and the second one is the logging table. DB triggers to identify change, and logging tables are queue tables. Read modules read data from logging tables and send to write modules, and write modules write to HANA system. Suspend is a temporary halt. Whenever you do suspend, data is halted in logging tables. And these logging tables are automatically created by system. They have a naming convention. So based on this naming convention, automatically system creates the logging table. When you do suspend, the data is temporarily halted, and resume, data is back to target. We have one more option called stop. So when do we use stop? The stop is used when you want to permanently stop the replication of table. For example, we have VBAK table. We're replicating the standard table VBAK. So every day the sales orders on the VBAK table and data in HANA is same. So today our requirement change, and we no more require to replicate VBAK table. So during that time we stop. They stop the replication process. Whenever we stop the replication process, logging tables and DB triggers are deleted. So system automatically deletes these logging tables and DB triggers. Once the logging tables and DB triggers are deleted, there is no communication between these both tables. So that's why stop is a permanent and suspend is a temporary. So now we will start on the system. Now we know load is for non-frequently changing data scenarios, for master data, replicate for frequently changing data scenarios. Any change done on the source system, immediately it is replicated to HANA in real time. Suspend, temporary halt of data. Resume, Again, data from logging tables is read to HANA. Stop. Permanent halt of data. And permanently, we stop data. So now we will start the practical and log into the remote desktop connection. So log into the remote desktop connection. So first I log into the source system, that is to the ECC system. So I'll provide the username and password. Enter the T code LTRC. Click enter. So this is SAP LT Replication Server Cockpit overview. So here the administrator, usually we don't create this configuration, but just good to know we are creating this. So create configuration. Let us give a name for the configuration. I'll give in as ECC SLT 99. I'll provide the description. Click next. Specify the relevant information in order to connect to the source system. So in order to connect to the source system, we require an RFC connection. So I'll go to create session. Basically, we are talking about this connection, this RFC that we need to communicate between ECC and SLT. So we'll go back to the remote desktop. So here, type in the T code SM59. Click enter. ABAP connections. Expand ABAP connection. So in here, if we scroll to the bottom, so here we could see so here we have a connection with RFC to HANA. So let us check this connection. Double click on this. Click connection test. So I'm going to use this connection. So the connection is working, RFC to HANA. So I'll basically copy this connection. I'll go back. And RFC connections, let us copy paste this connection. In order to use this RFC connection for multiple usage, I can create connection only once. And I can use this connections in multiple configuration. So allow multiple usage. and click Next. Specify the relevant information in order to connect to target system. A database system is HANA. So here we require the administrator username. The normal developer user will not work over here. So we have an administration user called system. I'll use this administrator user called system and let's give the password. Host name. So what is the host name of HANA? Click Start. Click on SAP HANA Studio. Let us click on HANA Studio. Right click on the system or double click on the system. Right click, click Properties, click Additional Properties. The host is SAP HANA and the instance is 00. So now I'll go back to SLT. The host name is SAP HANA and the instance is 00. So once we have given, so all the things that I'm showing here is the DB connection properties. So this is how a DB connection is defined. Database HANA, user system, password. So not only to HANA, but you can connect to various source systems. Please see. Sorry, we can connect to various target systems like MaxDB, DB2, MS SQL, Oracle. So basically, not only SLT is designed to replicate data to HANA, but also you can replicate to different target systems. And finally, click Next. Once we click Next, here we need to specify the settings for data transfer and to manage system resources. So data transfer settings, we have initial load mode. So when initially loading data, it should consider my system resources, job options, number of data transfer jobs. So this is what we discuss, how many jobs we require. The number of initial load jobs. How many jobs are required for initial load? How many jobs are required for data transfer? So it depends on how many tables we are trying to replicate. Let's say I give my data transfer jobs as 2. I'm allocating 2 jobs. Number of initial load jobs. So 50% of the data transfer jobs are the initial jobs, so it is 1. So if I allocate 2 jobs, then maximum I can replicate 8 tables. Because this is a demo, I'm showing you how we can create. So later we can increase this jobs as and when necessary. This is once we give this parameter, later we can increase this parameter based on the requirement. So today I give 2, later I can change to 10. But if you want to change to 10, we also need to consider how many background jobs are running in the system, the total number of background jobs. In order to know how many background jobs are running back in the system, let us create session. Go to the T code SM50. Enter the T code SM50. Click enter. So once you click enter, here you see these are all the BCT jobs. All these are, so how many background jobs we have? So 16 to 30, approximately we have 14 jobs. So sorry, we have 15 jobs. So basically, these 15 jobs I cannot define more than, if I have 15 background jobs and some of them are using for ECC. So probably maximum I can use 10. So 10 jobs I can allocate. So unless and until we can increase these background jobs as well based on the system resources. We can increase these background jobs also. So let us go back. So here I'm taking only 2. The initial job is 1. And the other job is to calculate the statistics. In order to calculate the statistics of all these jobs, I've allocated 1 for a calculation job. A replication option. Whether you want to choose real time or schedule. Even you can schedule the jobs. Days, hours, minutes, or schedule a time. Based on time, you can schedule this job. But here I'm choosing real time. So once we mention this configuration and finally click next, review your settings and choose create to create the configuration. So once we click create now, so what is going to happen is in HANA system, so this is HANA Studio. In the HANA Studio, so you'll see a new schema that is created. So if I click on the catalog and click find click on filters. If you try to enter ECC SLT99, click whole word, click OK. So there is no schema we can see now. Please see there is no schema here. So once we create this, click create. Once we click create, the configuration ECC SLT99 is created. So here you see ECC SLT99 is created by system. Once the configuration is created, system is going to generate a mass transfer ID. The mass transfer ID is 137. So until now what we have done is, we have created a configuration. This configuration is going to connect to HANA system. And to recognize this configuration, empty ID is generated, which is 137. So 137 is the mass transfer ID. So once this system successfully creates the configuration, now we can find this SLT schema in HANA. So we'll go back to HANA Studio. Right click again, and let us again find for this schema. You see here, now the new schema called ECC SLT99 is created. So once this ECC SLT99 is created, LTRC, so ECC SLT99 is created. Now once this configuration is successfully created, with the same name schema is created in HANA. Let us expand the schema. Let us expand the tables. You see immediately there are few tables created by system. DD02L, DD02T and DD08L. So all these are So each table DD02L stores information about SAP. DD02L stores information about SAP tables. All the tables that are available on the source system, is stored in this table. And DD02T stores all the texts for SAP tables. So descriptions are stored. This is the text tables for SAP tables. And DD08L is a table that stores a relationship between these tables, how these tables are interconnected to each other. So in this table, it is stored. So in order to see the status of these tables, in order to see how these tables are being replicated, here we have data provisioning at the quick view. If you do not find this quick view, you have to first make sure that we are in HANA modeler. So sometimes we may not find this quick view. So at that point of time, just please click on the HANA modeler, click window, click perspective, and click no, click show view and click quick view. Once we click on quick view, so here we have data provisioning. Click on data provisioning, select the system and click finish. So once we click finish, so once we click finish, so here, here we see select the source system. So in here we need to, so this is our source system, which is ECC system. And here you have target schema. So what is our target schema? ECC SLT99. So once we select this, now please see initially system, I'll just close this quick view. So once the system has started, configuration is successfully created, then system basically starts loading these three tables, DD02L, 2T and 8L. And it needs to have action, replicate, status in process. At any point of time, you see these tables are not being loaded, probably because there are a lot of participants who are practicing these exercises. What you can do is, because the system is not able to, this system is not sufficient. See, because please see here, we have three configurations because participants are practicing these exercises. So probably once you complete our exercise, once the exercise, whatever the exercise we do for XLT, once it is complete, just please select the configuration. If anything you got stuck, if system is not able to perform as per the expectation, because we have a lot of configurations created, sometimes it may be possible that configuration is not also created because of insufficient background jobs, and this may lead to performance issues on the system. That's why we select the old configuration and just delete them. If you do not require any configuration, which is already created, and for anything that is stuck, just delete the old configurations. Once the practice is finished, please delete your own configuration so that the other participants have chance to practice. So we'll just delete the old ones. So now we have our configuration. So what happens is when you delete, the jobs in the backgrounds are released. So we have sufficient jobs to basically take care of data. So again, you go back to HANA Studio, and we need to have this action and status replicate in process. So in order to do that, we can basically click on refresh. Now this is successful, replicate in process, and this also is in process. So we need to see the status DD02L, 8L and 2T. The status is in process. Okay, so until this part, so whatever I'm trying to show you until here, this is taken care by the HANA administrator. So next comes our part. Next is the HANA application consultant. I just want to explain, whenever these jobs are created, when these jobs are created, for example, a configuration is created. When you click on this configuration, when you click on this configuration, so here you please see here, you can see the tables that are replicated to HANA, even in LTRC. Click back. So this is the configuration, and this is the master transfer ID. For every configuration, you have a unique master transfer ID that is generated by system. For example, let's say here, you have multiple source systems. One is ECC system, another is CRM, another is SCM, and here we have SLT. One SLT system is sufficient, but we have to create 3 configurations. Each configuration has a master transfer ID. So in order to check the status of these tables, we can directly go to the ECC or wherever the SLT is. So if SLT is on the ECC, we type the T code LTRC over here. If SLT is on a separate host, we type LTRC over here. So here we have a transaction code called SM37. SM37 is a transaction code where you can see the jobs of SLT. Whatever the jobs that are running for SLT system, that we can monitor in SM37. In SM37, you have something called master job, and you have data transfer jobs. So master job is a job that initiates the data transfer jobs. So if I go to SM37, I'll go to remote desktop, create session, enter the T code SM37, click enter, simple job selection. I'll remove released, ready, finished, cancelled. We'll only see activate jobs. What are the jobs which are currently active? I'll give star to see all the jobs. I click execute. So here you see the naming convention of SLT jobs. Start with /1LT / IUC _ REP _ master. So this is the name of the job. So this is known as the master job. And these are data transfer jobs. 1LT / IUC / load / empty. This is the mass transfer ID. 137 is the mass transfer ID. And this is the ID of the job. So these jobs are continuously active. So why these jobs are active is because, you see, in here it is continuously in process of replicating data. So jobs are in process means they're continuously replicating data. So whenever there is a change on the source system, immediately it is going to update to HANA. So it means that jobs are continuously looking for any changes, inserts, updates, deletes happening on the source system. The jobs are continuously active, looking for data on the source system, and finally updates to HANA system. So master job is a job that initiates the data transfer jobs. For any troubleshooting, you want to do any troubleshooting of SLT, first we need to check jobs, whether the jobs are running appropriately on the SM37. So once the jobs are running, now next, we'll see these different options like load, second one is replicate, third one is suspend, fourth one is resume, and fifth one is stop. So first is load. So what does load do? Source system, SLT, HANA. So let's say we have a custom table. So we can replicate both custom tables and even the standard tables. To HANA. So basically, I'll go for a custom table. I'll show you how to load from a custom table and even from standard. So why we are using custom table is because we'll have more control over the table. We can update, we can insert, we can delete data in the tables so that we can see end-to-end scenario. We'll go back to the remote desktop. First we'll create one base table in ECC. I'll create session. Click on create session. SE11. SE11 is a T code where we can create table. I'll create a new table. I'm creating a new table. I'm entering the table name. Click create. Provide the short description. Delivery class. Just I'm creating a table on the source system. Usually we don't create these tables. These tables are created by ABAP people, our colleagues ABAP. So they are going to create these tables. We are only going to use these tables. But in order to see end-to-end scenario, I'm creating this table. A delivery class. I'll select A, application table, master and transaction data. I'll select this. Data browser, display maintenance allowed. The display maintenance allowed means we can enter data into this table. Click on fields. I'll type in few fields over here. So predefined data types. I'm just creating a sample table in ABAP. So basically we are entering the columns inside the table. We need to have at least one key. Click on technical settings. Click yes. So we're basically storing this object in the local library. Click on local object. Click continue. Data class. So whether we want to store master or transaction data. I would like to choose transaction data because we have amount and amount related data. Thus I'm choosing transaction data. Size, number of records you want to store in this table. So this is the size. Until this size I can store data into the table. Click save. Click back. Click on utilities. Click on extras and then enhancement category can be enhanced. So later you can enhance this table. Click copy and click check. Click yes. Click continue and activate the table. Click activate. Click continue. So this is how we created a table, which is Jet CE1 COPA table. So now I created this table. Jet CE1 COPA table. So this is the name of the table. Now we want to use load option in SLT using the T code LTRC, or you can use data provisioning at the HANA Studio. So here I'll choose LTRC. So I'll go to SLT, create session, LTRC, click enter. So this is our configuration. Click on the configuration. Click on the configuration name. Click on data provisioning. We have start load. Enter the table name. Once we enter the table name, let us go to HANA. So this is the SLT schema. And this is where we can monitor a data load management. So here we can monitor these tables. In this schema we will have SLT related tables. So I'll go back to the table once. I'll go to SE11 again. I'll go to SE11, click enter. This is the name of the table. Let's click display. So we only created the structure of the table, but we did not enter any data into this table. So let me create few entries in the table. Click utilities, table contents, create entries. So here 1000 company code, V01 is the sales organization, 100 and 400. The company code, sales organization, gross revenue and sales reductions, and click save. Once I save, click back, click contents and click execute. So here we can see the table and the entries inside the table. So now in this table, we have one entry in this source table. So now in the SLT, in the LTRC, we're giving this table name and start load. So once I start load in HANA, under the schema, we'll basically find this table over here. And table will be replicated under this folder. Action is load. Status should be executed. So once load is complete, once the load of the table is complete, the status load executed. The status is executed. So we'll go back to LTRC, start load, and click execute. So once you execute, one table scheduled with action start load. Refresh. Please here this table CE1 COPA table. Excuse me. So it's in process to replicate table. Go back to HANA Studio. Click refresh. Now this table load executed is in HANA. Right click on tables folder. Click refresh. Once you refresh, now here you see the table. By default it is a column table. Double click on the table. This table is a column store, and these are the columns inside the table. right click on the table, open data preview. So it says insufficient privilege not authorized. So basically we are not authorized to see data in this table. So to see data, so what we can do here is, I'll basically go to another system admin schema. I'm going to enter into the administrator user. I'm going to enter into the administrator user. Double click on the user. So now I'm inside the admin user. At the admin user, if I expand the catalog, if I go to again the same schema, ECC SLT99, expand tables. In here we can see the table. Right click on the table and open data preview. Now please see, this is the record. If I go to the source system, that's on the ECC. So this is the data on the ECC, and this is the data in HANA system. Now if I create one more record, I'll try to create one more record. I'll click save. When I click save, a database record successfully created on the ECC system. I'll click back. Now here we have two records. But when I refresh over here, when I click refresh, please see, still we have a single record. So what does this mean is, whatever the changes we make on the source system, when we use load to replicate, when we use load option for this table, you will not see the second record because a load is executed. Means job is complete. Whatever the changes that we do or insert, this table will not be updated. So that's why a load is for not frequently changing data scenarios. Now if you want to get that second record, if you want to get the second record, 2000, then what we have to do is we have to load again. We have to perform the load again. So again I'll go to LTRC. So this time what we will do is, we'll basically use the load option in here. So previously we have seen from LTRC. So previously we have done load from here, from the LTRC. Now the same start load option is also available in HANA Studio. So I'll click on load. I'll click on load. So here we have data provisioning, select system. So we need to switch to the other user. In order to switch to the other user, because previously we performed from best, now we have to perform from system. So in order to perform from system, what you can do is, you see here we are in the different user. Previously we have done on the best user. Now we need to do in system user. So what we can do is just double click on the system that you want to use data provision. Just double click on this. Once we double click on this, then click on window, show view, quick view. And then we click on data provisioning. Select the second one, which is system, click finish. Now we are seeing from system, the target schema for us is ECC SLT99. So select this one, click load here. So now load request. Select tables for data load. So what is the table that you want to use? I want to use this table. So this is my source table. I'll click find. So once you click find, select this table, get C1 COPA table, click add the table, and click finish. So once I finish, please see, when I refresh, system is again scheduling the table again. Please see, when I right click on the table, open data preview, it says invalid table name. The reason is every time you load, the system is going to drop the table. Again, let us see. It's going to drop complete table. It recreates the table. First it drops. It recreates the table. Again refresh. Let's see the status. Load is executed. So we'll go back. Let's refresh. Once the load is complete, both the records are here. So whatever the data that you have on the source system, the same data we have in the target system. So whenever the changes on the source system, the job should be triggered again. When you trigger a job, the default behavior of the system is it drops the previous table, recreates the table, and reloads the data. That's why load is for non-frequently changing data scenarios, especially for master data tables like T005T, where the data is not frequently changing. We can use load to load data to HANA system. Tomorrow we'll see the rest of the options. So today we just see load. Today we just see how to use load. Tomorrow we will see how to do replicate, suspend, resume, and stop load. Participants may have any questions. Please type in your questions. I will read out your questions and answer your question. Thank you very much. So let me read out the questions here. So when HANA DB is down during the data provisioning activity, and if it is restarted again, will records get overwritten? So if you're using load, obviously the table is going to get dropped. And then a new table is created and loaded again. But if you're using a replicate option, when HANA DB is down, if you do any change to that particular record, it will overwrite. It will overwrite based on the key. For example, the sales order amount is 100, but later I changed to 200. So what is going to happen is in the target, it is going to overwrite 100 to 200. But if you delete a complete entry in the source, even the entry in the target is deleted. So based on the activity on the source, it is going to reflect in the target system. Next question. Will there be multiple DB triggers and logging tables, one for each table, or only one DB trigger for all the logging tables, or for entire data provisioning? Logging tables and DB triggers. So for each one, it creates one logging table and one DB trigger for each table. So every table will have its own logging table, will have its own DB triggers. Next question. When you're working on a real world, how many LTRC connections are required to replicate data to HANA? It depends on how many source systems we have. So as we discuss in one example here, so if you have three source systems, we need three configurations. So each configuration will have its own mass transfer ID. So the number of connections will depend on how many source systems we have. But it is 1:1 relationship. One source system can have one mass transfer ID. So one more question here. Will there be one SLD connection per source system? You can create multiple connections. You see, for an RFC connection, you have multiple usage. Means one RFC connection can be used in multiple configurations. You can have multiple configurations from one source system. So next question. Next question here. Why are we switching between two different HANA servers to check the table? The reason is the best schema does not have the privilege to view data. That's why I'm going to the system user, because the best user is not authorized to see data from the newly created schema, because the newly created schema should be authorized to best user. Unless and until it is authorized, we cannot see data. That's why I went back to the system and then I'm seeing data because system has full privilege. That's why I'm seeing data in the table from system user. We have one more question here. Can we load data from HANA to ECC? Is it possible to load data from HANA to ECC? No, we cannot load data from HANA to ECC. So my Dropbox is full. Okay, if your Dropbox is full, please kindly create one more Dropbox and please pass on the Dropbox to us. We will assign your new Dropbox email ID to the new Dropbox. So tomorrow we will see the replication option, because I haven't started replicate option. Tomorrow we will see the replication option. When the HANA system goes down, when replicating or load is going on, will the load resume automatically after the system is back? Yes. Automatically, replication will automatically take care, but load we have to do manually. Replication will automatically take care, but load we have to do manually. Next question. As we see the schema best with many tables was also created in the same way, suppose if we create a new schema and transfer a few tables such as VBAK, VBAP, etc. and I want to create an attribute view by selecting a new table from a new schema, can I do that? Yes, you can do that. Yes, you can create, but all that you need to have is the authorization on the schema. So I will show you in future classes how we need to authorize a schema to a user. That we see in the privilege, object privilege. We'll see the topic in the object privilege, then we'll see this. Next question. Why source to SLT should be an RFC and not a DB connection? The reason is, if two ABAP application servers have to communicate to each other, then the standard protocol that SAP uses is an RFC connection. Because ECC is an application server, HANA is a database, that's why we use an RFC, because ECC and SLT both are ABAP application systems. Sorry, the class is not tomorrow, it's on Monday. I mean to say, next class means on Monday. Tomorrow is a Saturday, so. Next question. Can we transfer database views? Yes, we can transfer even database views, cluster tables, pool tables, include programs, indexes. We can transfer all those things, everything we can transfer. Next, in real time, how often we transfer the tables again and again? I suppose if we transfer the required tables once, it should be sufficient. But then we can replicate to do other stuff. Yes, you're correct. So whatever you want to transfer using load, we can transfer. Now when there is a frequently changing data scenarios, we can use replicate option. So we'll see, so on Monday we'll see again replication, then we will see more options. So today I was just discussing about load. On Monday we'll see more options on duplicate, stop, load and resume. Thank you everyone to attend today's session. Again we'll see on Monday to see the other options. Have a nice weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you.